is being presented. All right, I guess the meeting is now being recorded in progress. This meeting is being presented via Zoom. It is not appropriate for audience members to interrupt board business or ask questions during the meeting. A portion of the meeting is reserved for public comments. Board members will not engage in discussion or debate with members of the public. The superintendent may provide information if appropriate. The board chair acknowledges input received and may, if needed, ask the superintendent to look into the matters and report back to the board. If you have any concerns about individual district employees or specific complaints that require an administrative response, please contact the office of the superintendent directly. As this is a live virtual public comment, please raise your hand and you will be unmuted when it is your turn to speak. We will do our best to call you in the order you raise your hands. Commenters will be allowed audio privileges, and I believe we might be allowing video privileges this evening as well. Please state your name and address. Commenters who violate the guidelines below may have their speaking privileges removed. But at this time, also just make sure we stay muted throughout the meeting until you're called on. And I think we still have to provide you access to unmute you when it's time to speak. Okay. Our vision and mission: our community inspires and prepares each student to thrive. And in connection with our community, the Sequim School District empowers staff to inspire hope and provide flexible, innovative learning opportunities in a safe and respectful environment so each student thrives. And the acknowledgement of the land we stand on: the Sequim School District administrative and school buildings sit on the ancestral lands of the S'Klallam people. While the S'Klallam traditionally come from one nation, history has led to the formation of three sovereign S'Klallam tribal governments: the Lower Elwha S'Klallam tribe, located in Port Angeles, the Jamestown S'Klallam tribe, located in Sequim, and the Port Gamble S'Klallam tribe, located in Kingston. The district's primary partnership is with the Jamestown S'Klallam tribe. Today, the tribe and district share a partnership that includes official consultation on program and funding changes that may directly affect American Indian and Alaska Native students, as well as holistic service planning for students to remain successful in their educational journeys. And on that note, leading off, we are going to have our Native American Heritage Month proclamation. What do we got going on there? All right. Am I reading through this?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay. Let me make sure I've got it all. Whereas Native Americans have inhabited the area now known as Washington State since time immemorial, and today 29 federally recognized Indian tribes out of the state tribes with treaty reserve rights and other tribal communities reside in Washington. And whereas members and descendants of tribes around the United States and First Nations of Canada also reside in the state of Washington, and whereas Native American contributions and values have shaped the social, political, environmental, and economic fabric of the state, while also enhancing freedom, prosperity, and cultural diversity. And whereas state law RCW 43.376 directs the governor and state agencies to establish government-to-government relationships with Indian tribes in order to enhance and formalize working relationships with the tribes through collaboration and consultation. And whereas RCW 28A/3020-170 mandates the teaching of tribal history, cultural, and government in common schools, which will contribute greatly to improving schools' history, curriculum, enhance awareness for a better cultural understanding. And whereas substitute House Bill 1356, prohibiting the inappropriate use of Native American names, symbols, or images as public school mascots, logos, or team names, was signed into law on April 26, 2021, thus removing harmful stereotypes and barriers to racial equality, cultural awareness, and an equitable education. And whereas the state of Washington has designated the Friday immediately following the fourth Thursday of November as a state legal and school holiday known as Native American Heritage Day. And whereas Washington joins other states across the nation in celebrating Native American Heritage Month, honoring the unique heritage of this continent's first people and reaffirming the commitment to respect each tribe's sovereignty and cultural identity. Now, therefore, I.J. Inslee, Governor of the State of Washington, do hereby proclaim November 2021 as Native American Heritage Month and November 26, 2021 as Native American Heritage Day in Washington, and encourage all people in our state to join me in this special observance, signed this 25th day of November 2021 by Governor Jay Inslee. So it's very appropriate today also with our ongoing acknowledgement and our local tribes that we work very closely with. We just thank them and again honor them in this month and all times throughout our community, because our local Jamestown tribe has just been extremely instrumental in all that they have done for us in the local community. So thank you to them and acknowledging Governor Inslee's proclamation.
Okay, I think I'm up next.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, first of all, we would like to thank President Gibson and Director Koo for their 4 years of service, and we will go through some of their accomplishments. First of all, President Gibson was elected in November of 2017, and he prior to that served as president of Citizens for Swim Schools. He was elected vice president in June of 2019 and became president for the 2021 school year. In 2017, there was a capital projects levy in February that was passed, and the central kitchen and community school deconstruction took place on March 26. 2 years later, 2019, there was the groundbreaking of the central kitchen. And that particular project was on time and under budget. And we have been able to utilize some of those funds to put a new roof on Grey Wolf, and not too soon with all the rain we've had. Also, President Gibson was the WIAA representative for the Swim School Board and for the state, and he was involved in the strategic planning, the safety focus with crisis reality training with Jesus Villar-Hermosa, and we had successful EP&O and capital projects levies pass last February. So on behalf of the school district, we want to say thank you for your years of service to the Swim School District, and we have a plaque for you. It's in our office, and so we will get that to you as soon as we can. So thank you, President Gibson, for all of your hard work. It is at times a very thankless job, and we understand that. So we just want to say thank you. And also leaving us is Director Koo. Director Koo was actually appointed in April of 2017 prior to being elected in November of 2017 he was the vice president in June of 2017 after being appointed and before being elected. He then became the board president in 2018-19, and he again was part of the board that passed the capital projects levy in 2017 for the central kitchen and the community school. At deconstruction, and then he was there for the groundbreaking of the central kitchen, which was on time and under budget. He worked with the strategic planning, and he also took part in the safety focused crisis reality training with Jesus Villar-Hermosa. And we had 2 successful levies last February. So I just want to say thank you to Director Koo for all of your service. It is not easy to be away every other Monday night and oftentimes in between times. And so we just all want to thank both of you for your years of service and hope that your next chapter will be maybe a little less stressful and just as fulfilling. So thank you both.
Thank you, Dr. Pryne. We appreciate that.
Yeah, ditto. And that was, I'm tired just listening to what you just read off, but thank you.
Yeah. All right. What in the world we got going on here, Tracy? Okay, next up, we have the approval of our minutes for our November 1st regular meeting, the 8th special meeting, and the October 21st special meeting, which we didn't get to do last time. We have a motion at this time to approve.
Mr. President, I will move to approve as presented.
Thank you, Director Koo. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a second from Director Pickens. Do we have any discussion at this time? Okay, hearing no discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any, are we voting online there, Tracy, or are we good to go?
I was tempting to do online, but we can do either way. Whatever's easier for you guys.
Let's just stick with the verbal at this point.
Sounds good.
Works for good. Yeah, thank you. Okay, and I think we had all positives and any opposed, same sign. All right. Next up, we have any changes to our agenda? Don't believe we have anything to change. So with no
Mr.
change,
Chair, motion to
Yes.
approve as presented.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next up, we have our consent agenda.
Mr. President, move to approve as presented.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion from Director Koo, a second from Director Pickens. Any discussion?
Just one comment, if I may. Just obviously a lot of moving parts in the district continuing, but Coach Julmus, good to have you back. Thank you for upping for the winter season.
All right, thank you. Okay, if there's no further comment, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign? Okay. Next up, we have public comments. And I have several to read at this point, so I'm going to read those first, and then we will look to take other comments from those in attendance. So at that point, please raise your hand. And I'm not sure what I'm seeing here. All right, I'll start off with the written public comments. So first off, we have from Carolyn Wilcox. As a certified science teacher and outdoor educator, I stand in solidarity with Jim Stauffer. Given everything that's been going on with the Sequim School Board, with hints of bad behavior on the part of various people connected to both the school and the board itself, I truly commiserate with the new incoming board members. They will be joining a board that seems barely functional, given the accusations from within the board itself, as well as from outside the board. I am concerned and quite frankly disgusted by what I've heard. I'm completely disinclined to take sides, though, because when sides are drawn up on a body that needs to be fully functional and arrive at decisions by consensus, no one wins. Especially not students that have no choice but to rely on adults voted in by the community to make the necessary decisions to keep their institute of learning completely operational. Given the level of dysfunction and that there will be 2 new members, I do not believe the board can solve its own problems. I would like to see an outside agency, a facilitator, a mediator, or some other disinterested and qualified party work with the board to get its operational again. I think this needs to be done as soon as possible. Dr. Monica Dixon, co-founder of Olympic Peninsula Healthy Community Coalition. I've been a colleague in front of Jim Stauffer for over 8 years and worked with him in many capacities to support our community over the years. Regardless of the project, I've found Jim to be a man of utmost integrity, honor, and commitment to those he serves. As a Coast Guard veteran, Jim continues to ascribe to the code of ethics he learned from his military service and brings out the best in those he serves or works with as well. Rather than being antagonized and harassed, Jim's role in the SCWM School Board is a huge asset to the SCWM community, and he and his work should be supported by all of us. Robbie Anderson, retired 4th grade teacher. I've known Jim for more than 15 years. His daughter was in my 4th grade class many years ago, so I got to know the whole family. As I'm sure you know, Jim is an exemplary father, husband, and community volunteer. He's been an outstanding board member who has always supported the needs of students. I hope the board will do the right thing by continuing to support Jim. He is a credit to the board and our community in every way. Carol Hall, I have had the privilege of working with Jim on a few of many community projects and groups he has supported in SCWM in the community. He is recently identified as a Person of the Year in Clallam County. His contributions and integrity are apparent to all. On the other hand, the SCWM school districts exist under a black cloud of silence that has failed to resolve the many escalating personal problems in the past years. It seems outrageous that the board, who has been compliant in not dealing with these challenges, now seeks to rid itself of perhaps the most trustworthy and moral member that was elected by the citizens of this SCWM. With how big of a hole do you wish to dig for the future of SCWM schools? Professional families will not move to an area where the schools are not strong. Voters will not approve bond issues desperately needed when a climate of silence and distrust are displayed by the school board and the district administration. How many more suits have to be filed before there's an attempt to address these issues? Pressuring Jim Stauffer to resign could well be the final nail sealing of fate in SCWM schools. Tim Wheeler, community member. When I entered 3rd grade in 1948, my teacher was Miss Lotz Gazelle, who made us memorize William Wordsworth's poem, Daffodils. 10 years later, Principal Leonard Beale shook our hands as all 65 of us graduated. I have never wavered in my love of SCWM schools, staffed by outstanding teachers like Ms. Lotz-Gazelle, Mr. Nelson, Mrs. Scott, Mrs. Wheeler, Mrs. Taylor. So I'm dismayed that the SCWM School Board is demanding that SCWM School Board member Jim Stauffer resign. Voters elected and re-elected Jim or Stauffer to show appreciation for his service in the SCWM students and staff. Clallam County echoed that love with an award of this year of devoted service for our community. SCWM's motto is be kind, but we have been much backstabbing in SCWM, targeting its selfless public servants like SCWM City Manager Charlie Bush. Voters cast ballots 2-1 November 2nd to remove from the SCWM City Council the appointed council members who fired Bush. Public Health Officer Allison Berry is also target of backstabbing by a small minority, but she too is beloved. Does the school board think it is wise to subject our wounded community to another prolonged nasty drive to oust Director Stauffer? He makes clear he will not resign. We stood at the main intersection at SCWM last Saturday holding signs that read, Jim Stauffer serves our community, our children, our community, keep him. We are part of an outpouring from the community in support of Jim Stauffer. The drive to oust Jim Stauffer is divisive, fuels anger, secrecy, finger pointing. 2 members of the school board are lame ducks who will soon leave office. Interim Superintendent Jane Pryne has announced she will resign at the end of the year. The school board has faced lawsuits and has been forced to pay costly settlements. There are other complaints and lawsuits charging sexual harassment and discrimination. We have endured a period of outright chaos at the highest level of school administration. Our school board should be working hard to vaccinate our school children against COVID-19 in compliance with saving lives. I appeal to the school board, uphold good quality education, integrity, decency, good governance, uphold the safety of school children and staff, including measures to protect against COVID-19, and also ensure just and quick resolution of all grievances without costly lawsuits, and this misguided drive to force Jim Stauffer to resign. Let me see, I have another one here. Pull that up. I don't believe it's on our list. Sorry, I'm trying to navigate two screens here. Here we go. Dear Sequim School Board, I have worked in education for the last 15 years. I am honored to work in the same district and live in and where my son attends. And now I am deeply concerned for the districts after hearing the news of the resignation of Jane Pryne. As honored as I am to be here, I am also quite perplexed by how unhealthy this district is proving to be as an organization. I worked in the Mukilteo School District for 10 years, and my husband and I decided to move to Sequim. I began this job search and found a home in Port Angeles. I was part of the district office for the past 2 years as administrative assistant and the assistant superintendent and Seaview administrative assistant. When the opportunity came available for me to apply and obtain a job in the Sequim School District, I was excited and a bit apprehensive, to be honest. So when I was called to interview, I tried to keep an open mind. I was not sold on the idea of moving to a district during great turmoil. Jane led the interview team, and after the interview, I told my husband that I believed Sequim School District was finally being led by a person of immense credibility, courage, and integrity. I was offered the job, and the one and only reason I accepted the position and chose to move from a well-established and relatively healthy organization was due to the respect I had for Jane Pryne. I have now been working for the past 7 months in an office directly across from her, and I'm working very closely with her. I have seen Jane make hard decisions. She has made them on behalf of the staff and students and always taken into consideration what is best for both. She does to stray away from addressing the unhealthy practices in the district, no matter the personal cost. I believe Jane Pryne was the change agent for this district. I am sorely disappointed in the lack of support the board has shown her, and am concerned for this district. Please do not hesitate to contact me at this time. Jennifer Cox. All right, let me figure out what I've got going here. Okay, I'm trying to go here. Okay, looking for hands. I believe I've got Dr. D here. So if we could unmute Dr. D at this time. Dr. D, you have the floor.
Thank you. I tried to do my video, but it's not working. As many of you know, I'm a former middle school and high school teacher, principal, and supervisor of schools. My husband and I moved here 6 years ago from Pennsylvania, and I've had the privilege of working in our district as a high school teacher for 4 years. And one of the highest regards I hold is that of respect. So this public comment has 2 parts to it, both regarding respect. First, I too am deeply saddened and heartsick for our district after having read Dr. Pryne's letter of intent to step down from her position. Our district has been through a toxic nightmare, and finally we had someone at our helm who not only provided the leadership necessary for our schools, but she did so with the courage to allow vulnerability, risk-taking, and integrity. She worked with our teams on practicing values and building trust and building our resilience in a time when the entire world was facing the unknown impact and effects of COVID-19. She not only gave meaning to the words in our strategic plan, She added others and aided us in realizing, by including equity and excellence into the visioning work that connects to all of us in the common goal that 100% of our students or scholars, families, and staff feel like they belong. It's unsettling at the very least to know that she no longer feels like she belongs. The second part of my statement is somewhat personal. With all of this being said, I am feeling a lack of respect toward me and toward our teaching community with the very thought that our raises are being capped at 1.5%. These past 2 years have seen our teachers working through unheard of conditions to meet the needs of our learners. We transitioned from what we knew as traditional teaching to a totally online virtual version practically overnight. When we reopened after our students had 18 months of isolation in their homes, we added more of the necessary social and emotional components of teaching that now, more than ever, coexist with meeting students' academic needs. Our salaries currently lag behind those of neighboring districts who receive similar funding. In fact, if my numbers are correct, our swim teachers are underpaid by an average of 3.78%. while our district continues to receive more money from the state and tax revenues. I implore you as board members to do the right thing, to please show your respect for our work, to raise the board initiated cap, and to reach a fair agreement with our union. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. D. Hard to go through here. I'll just, the names are bouncing around. Rebecca Bullard.
All right. Hello and good evening. I'd just like to start by saying that I'm speaking on the behalf of all the teachers in our district, but I've kind of personalized my experience. Before COVID, teachers already worked long hours, many of them being outside of their contracted hours at home and during the summer or other school breaks. As a part-time teacher myself, as a multi-grade elementary teacher who works Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at a 0.6, I am able to balance my workload by having more at-home hours to complete work. I worked jobs on the side that did not require any work to be taken home and was able to complete the necessary work of a teacher. When COVID hit, the workload increased by a significant amount. I had to quit my jobs on the side that I worked on Fridays and Mondays, and I had to start working at the school on Mondays. My schedule changed consistently because of the different regulations that were put out due to the health concerns and requirements of the district based on how many people were allowed at our school, how many kids were allowed in the classroom, and so on. That summer of the 2020, I spent the entire time learning new skills to be able to have classes online using Zoom. When we started school back up again, the platforms that we had trained on during the summer in our own time were not allowed. And so we had to then relearn all those different techniques and skills while we were teaching. Teams consistently changed each day and parents were frustrated and took it out on us. And they were not always very kind. As time did pass over the past year, our workload continues to increase. We have been required to attend PD meetings that only cause added stress as we do not have the needed hours to do planning, prep, and many other things that we do as teachers. When students are ill, we have to contact parents and create a whole new education plan for kids as students are often under quarantine. We often use our non-work hours to help these families as many of these kids are really behind. Teachers have also taken on extra district responsibilities as parents contact the district and are not able to get a hold of people and are able to talk to teachers about what to do. So we've been providing support in those areas. This year in class, our time has also increased as so many of the children are behind because of COVID. The weight of these things have been put on our shoulders, and we have been working very much above our own abilities to be able to support these kids in so many ways. Many districts across the United States, and especially in Washington, have recognized this responsibility and have financially recognized the teachers' loads that they have taken on. We are all tired, yet hopeful that our district will see our hard work too. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rebecca. And also, just as a reminder, we have a 3-minute cap on time here for comments. So please monitor your screen for that as well. And we appreciate comments, though. Just want to make sure we get through this. So next up, looks like we have Becca Ritchie.
Good evening, Dr. Pryne, President Gibson, and esteemed school board members. Were we able to turn our videos on? Oh, we are not. Okay.
I don't know that that's working, Becca. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. I thought you said that we were. Okay.
We were challenged. We weren't sure.
Mr. Chair, I think if we temporarily made the speakers co-hosts, they might then have the ability to.
They would, but it creates additional complications from a technical standpoint that we can't account for.
Okay.
And Tracy, if you could reset the timer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Yeah.
Good evening, Dr. Pryne, President Gibson, and esteemed school board members. My name is Becky Ritchie, and I'm a 33-year veteran of the teaching profession. I began my career during Desert Storm, and now I'm teaching through a pandemic. I have taught over 20,000 students in my career, some years seeing 600 students through my classes. Not once in those years and working with children did I ever think we would be teaching in circumstances like today. Teachers I know are worn out mentally, physically, emotionally. They are just plain tired. The job has changed through the years, and I believe this year has been the most challenging yet. We come in every day and create a magical environment for learning in SWIM schools. We are all in this together, and we have been supporting each other, not only during the pandemic, but before that. And we will continue to support each other after the pandemic, but our morale needs to be lifted. And we, the teachers of SWIM, need you, our school board, to support and value our professionalism, to value the work that is being done under circumstances none of us ever could have or ever would have wanted to happen, as well as every day with our students. We value it. We have heard you say you value your teachers. The experience that is gleaned from year to year builds a teaching force that meets the needs of our students, which will, in the end, strengthen our community. Valuing our expertise, our knowledge, and our wisdom that stems through advanced degrees, years of practice, and time to really understand how children learn and develop is linked to our salary. Show your teachers that you support and value us. A 1.5% raise does not begin to show us the respect and appreciation that we deserve. It is time we stand together today and we demand that you put the taxpayers' dollars into a strong SWIM teaching force. I ask you, show your gratitude for all the work that your teachers have done. As a school board, you can lift the 1.5% cap placed on the district side of the bargaining table. Now is the time to do what is right to keep the amazing teaching staff you have helped build. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you, Becca. Next up, we have Joe Vandeway.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Joe Vandeway. I teach high school math, and I'm speaking tonight on behalf of the SWIM Education Association. The last 2 years have provided countless opportunities for my colleagues and I to go above and beyond the call of duty. SWIM school district educators have always been passionate about the learning and well-being of their students. That's why we transitioned to virtual learning overnight with little IT infrastructure and very little support. We all clocked countless hours outside of our contracted time, scrambling to put together packets, to make videos, and to find a way to support our students. I had the chance to witness this firsthand, not just as a fellow teacher, but also as a parent. As I adapted to teaching my 120 plus students in a virtual setting, I simultaneously needed to support my own elementary age children. Their teachers constantly impressed me. One began each math video by entering the screen from a different angle, resulting in many replays and laughs for the entire family. Another took the time to meet with my child for 15 minutes every week to help him with his reading. Another made frequent shout outs to individual students to keep them engaged with the videos and through awarding prizes. Another made a point to challenge my child daily with puzzles, extension activities, and virtual seminars to attend. When our school buildings finally reopened, my colleagues and I were faced with the difficult decision to put our health at risk for the sake of our students' learning and social emotional well-being. Today, even though we are exhausted from the trials of the COVID-19 pandemic, we continue to follow safety procedures and to deliver quality instruction to our students. Surprisingly, the school board's response to our dedication and effort has been to cap our pay increases to a mere 1.5%, guaranteeing that we remain underpaid compared to neighboring districts and those receiving similar funding. To show respect to us as educators and to retain quality teachers at Sequim School District, we urge the board to do the right thing and to raise the 1.5% cap and reach a fair agreement with our union. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Next up, we have Andrew Began.
Hey folks, for those that don't know me, my name is Andrew Pagan and I'm on staff with the Washington Education Association. But I'm actually here to read on behalf of one of our members tonight, Anita Benitez. So I have a message from her that I'm going to read right now. My name is Anita Benitez and I am writing to you about my concern regarding the 1.5% pay cap. I have taught here for approximately 9 years and have witnessed teachers working relentlessly to keep up with the ever-growing demands on their job. Last year, when we all had to change the way we taught, we all buckled down and learned how to teach remotely. I don't know if you know this, but many teachers in different buildings in the district were crying in their rooms, trying to figure quickly out what was best for the students of Sequim while following state guidelines. It was a shock to me that all of you voted for a hefty raise for principals and more days off for their hard work, and then capped teacher and para raises to 1.5%. It was also offensive when there was no thank you or a walk through our buildings to see how we were all faring during that extremely difficult time. I know for myself, I came to work daily last year feeling defeated, alone, and downright disappointed that no one was asking, how are you? What can we do to help you? We had little guidance and support and were thrown right into online teaching 2 weeks before the school year started. I understand at this time, you as a board have a fiscal responsibility to keep the district afloat. As I see it, you all gave 10 to 14% raises to many of the district office staff and even hired many assistants to help those well-paid individuals do their job. Teachers deserve to be compensated not only for the cost of living, but also for the hardships we are facing and continuing to face in these unprecedented times. It would be wonderful to feel that you appreciate us and all of our hard work. All we are asking for is a fair contract, do the right thing.
All right. Next up, we have, it looks like Nessa Goldman.
Hi, yes. My name is Nessa Goldman. I'm a teacher at OPA in the middle school. And I always thought that teaching was a great job. I've actually had 38 different jobs in my life. And in the 5 years that I've worked in the Sequim School District, I've mostly lived paycheck to paycheck. Over this last year, during the stresses of COVID and everything, I finished up my master's degree, hoping it would give me some more financial stability. And I'm only barely more comfortable. And now I have a ton of debt. Last week, one of my students asked me, why are you a teacher? Why do you want to do this job? And even this 12-year-old could see that these are unprecedented times that we're working in. And I wanted to tell her, like, because I love teaching, because I love the aha moments that my students have when something finally clicks with them. I think I speak really good middle schooler, and I think I'm good at it. And I don't really see another career path for myself, but I started to wonder if maybe that's something I should consider. Because in the last year, in addition to all the other stresses, I also incurred a number of medical bills that left me thousands of dollars in debt. And I really didn't know how I was going to pay for it. So I started looking at what my options were. And it turns out that I applied and qualified for 50% financial assistance as a teacher with a master's degree. And I really feel like that's quite absurd that at this time in my life, when I have the most stable career I've ever had, I'm still qualifying for financial assistance. It just beguiles me that we shouldn't have to fear medical bills or calling a plumber at this time. And what really is upsetting is that last week or 2 weeks ago, we did a PD with our district and they talked all about equity, and it was all about how we're going to provide equity for our families and equity for our students. But when it came to teachers, it just put all the onus and responsibility on us. It wasn't about how we're going to provide equity for our teachers and how we're going to treat them fairly, but it was about how we are going to enable equity in our district. And I feel like we've been working like pawns and not getting any respect. And I think we deserve a lot more than 1.5%. I really hope you will consider that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nessa. Next up, Liz Baumgartner.
Okay, can you?
You might have, do you have anything in the background? Whoa.
Yeah.
Let's jump to Mr. Lippert there and then come back and try Liz.
Yeah, and Liz, when we come back to you, it sounds like you have more than one device in the meeting. So if you could mute the other device when you go next time, that should take care of that, or just leave the meeting with the other device. Thank you.
Good evening, President Gibson and Dr. Jane Pryne. First of all, from me to you, Dr. Jane Pryne, I'm sorry to see you go. I've been in this district for 21 years and I've seen leadership at every level. And this district sorely needed a strong tiller. And Jane Pryne was a strong tiller. Now, her leadership will be sorely missed. But there are other leaders out there. For all the people on the board, I implore you, you're going to make a decision and you're going to move in a direction, then do it with decisiveness, effectiveness, and efficiency. There comes a time when, as a district, we have to lead by example. We have to do things that are right. Allegations are allegations, and allegations are just that until they're proven. Until they're proven, we have to live in a world where we have to defend our students, defend our teachers, and defend, most importantly, the fidelity and the integrity of this district. I implore you to use fidelity and integrity and move this situation forward. You have a two-pronged problem. The problem is that you have told your teachers that their worth is very, very undignified. That's not good. This is a long-term career. We enter this career primed to go the distance. We enter this career to serve the needs of our students, our kids, and our children. We have to be respected, and we have to be known that what we do daily is important. 1.5 doesn't see it. Not when you compare it to other things. I am not comparing myself to an administrator, but the figures don't lie. It is a bad, bad situation to push forth. It does not raise the morale or the effectiveness of this teaching community. I also implore you to consider the personnel that serve this district. Board-wise, leadership-wise. Please, I beg you, make a decision, do it well, and move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lippert. And let's see. Looks like we have Sarah Lynn.
Sorry, can you hear me?
We have you.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, Dr. Pryne, President Gibson, and board directors. My name's Sarah Lynn Pozernick, and I'm currently the Vice President of the Sequim Education Association, a teacher at Sequim High School and a voter in the Sequim School District. I've been teaching in the Sequim School District since 2012, and I've enjoyed my time there. On March 13th of 2020, it was announced that school would be closed for at least 6 weeks due to COVID-19. 6 weeks turned into 3 months, and ultimately, I ended up teaching virtually for a 12-month period. I and my colleagues transitioned to virtual learning basically overnight. And we did this to keep the students and families in Sequim safe. And we did our best to make sure our students continued to learn during this time, although none of us had imagined that this would be a situation we would find ourselves in. This meant we completely had to reinvent what we do on the fly. During my time teaching virtually, I worked tirelessly to provide an education to my students. I worked hard to form relationships and connections through a computer screen, and this was not easy work. It required an immense amount of effort. I watched my colleagues do the same day after day, and I watched as we tried to encourage and support each other. And I watched as some of us broke down in tears of frustration about a situation out of our control. When students came back to our campuses full-time this year, we've continued to work tirelessly to address the academic, social, and emotional needs of our students after a year at home in isolation. And the challenges that this year presents in the face of these needs is daunting. And we are doing this work in classrooms rife with political tensions. It's been one of the hardest school years of my career. Not only are we responsible for the academic progress of students, we're also now asked to address the social and emotional learning. We're asked to enforce many new safety protocols and oversee the incredibly bumpy rollout of one-to-one technology in our classrooms. And in addition, we need to maintain online courses on Canvas, among other things. The job of teacher has grown significantly over the last 2 years. We hope that at the next negotiating meeting, the Sequim School District will work with our leadership to come to a fair agreement to adequately and fairly compensate our members for all of our hard work, so we can stay in our district long-term and help the students of Sequim learn. We don't think 1.5% cap on increases is fair, and we're prepared to return to the next board meeting if we need to. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah Lynn. Let's give Liz another try, and then we'll come to you, Michael.
Okay, can you hear me now?
There, we got you. Much better.
Okay. Thank you, Chair Gibson and the school board. I'm very grateful to have this comment, this time to comment. I started my life as a teacher of history and government in high school. And almost all of my professional life in every organization that I have headed or worked in, I have spent a lot of time trying to help both adults and young people understand issues and how to think. So I have a great love in my heart for teachers and for the kids. And I think that is the main focus, should be the main focus for schools. So I'm upset to hear that the teachers are being offered a 1.5% raise, which is really almost an insult after what they've been through with COVID. I want to talk about 2 points today having to do with Jim Stouffer. You have heard, and it is very evident that a majority of people in Sequim support Jim Stouffer. They have reelected him. He is a good person and he really cares about the school and the students. This episode, which you are now attacking him for, started simply because someone came to the board and accused someone else of reporting using a hotline to the state audit about the school's audit. Now, normally one would expect that if this was a problem, this would have gone through the school system, but there's no indication that this did. And if it didn't, I'd be really curious to know why it wasn't brought to the school administration. The second thing is, how did the person know that this was an anonymous call? So this is another really interesting question. Finally, instead of you all spending time talking about the possible audit problems, you are attacking someone who simply asked another person in the school if they were the one that had made a call to the state auditor. This is not a he said, she said thing. This is a he said, because some of you on the board are attacking Jim for asking a simple question. He asked the question and he said, if you want to know more about it, talk to the school board. And when they did that, the question was not whether they were wrong or right, whether they had accused someone of something during a private meeting, but whether he had done something wrong by simply asking someone a question. This is just not right. And all of the problems that you are having over the last couple of years are an example of this behind closed doors kind of manipulating. Certainly confidentiality is needed when you are talking about kids and when certain things are done, but you don't, that confidentiality does not mean you exclude the person you are discussing. And it is a real abuse of human rights. So I want you really to think about that and think about the consequences for a good person like Jim, who is trying to help and represent this community with these kids. And second, finally,
Liz,
We've run out
you're
of time.
past your time.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you.
Lastly, we have Michael. Michael Roca.
Okay,
There you got it.
thank you. Wait for your timer to reset. Be fair here.
There you go.
All right, thank you. First off, I apologize to Jane for what the school board has just put you through and it resulting in you leaving. I'm sorry for that. Our school system in general in this nation is in a crisis, statewide, locally, over various hot button issues. Yet in the midst of this crisis, the Sequim School District inflicts a self-inflicted wound, the Jim Stouffer drama. I call it drama because for some crazy reason, the board publicly calls out wrongdoing so bad that it needs to be done in a public forum, but then fails to do anything about it. And you wonder why there's chaos and craziness going on in our school system. We hear of lawsuits, we hear of all this stuff, and yet Jim's name gets called up. We won't go into the details, but nothing happens. You guys do nothing. You don't even take a vote and put it on record. We don't have all the facts of what happened. I don't personally have a problem with Jim Stouffer, but this drama is insane. And I would call on Jim to either resign or on the board members that asked for his resignation improperly to resign. One or two has to be true. Someone jumped the gun and made a public spectacle that put us in the newspaper for a stupid reason or a valid reason, at which point you should proceed. One or the other. This doing nothing is the problem with our school district. I'm not passing judgment. I'm saying, but something has to be done, one or the other. Admit you messed up and you shouldn't have called the vote, or call the vote, have it, and hold someone accountable. It's harmful to the district. I agree with the other people that say this is not good for our district. So why did you drag us through this to do nothing? That is my question for you. Either way, I've heard a lot of talk about Jim, and I can say a lot of good things about Jim too in the community. But you know what? He either violated policy that was against rules or he didn't. That's what it comes down to. Not if he's a good or a bad guy outside of it. It's kind of irrelevant. People want to talk about some other stuff. Well, I've heard Jim be mean. Who cares? Did he violate the policy? It's a matter of rules. It's not a matter of opinion and whether we like the guy. I like Jim. It's not a problem about that. If he broke the rules, hold him accountable. If he didn't, then hold yourselves accountable for dragging us through this. And in my last 30 seconds, I'm going to implore the school board to please consider the parents and the people that are attending this and go back to live. This was supposed to be 1 or 2 meetings. We're months into this with no one showing any indication, correct us if we're wrong here, of trying to look at a plan to get it where we can meet. We have an auditorium that has audio video equipment. Let's use that. It's way past time for us to not be able to be in person and where we can hold our elected officials accountable. Either way, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mike. Okay. Moving on. Thank you to all those that had spoke tonight. We have our senior representative, Alyssa Beeby.
Hi, I hope everyone is doing well on this weather. So from Squim Middle School, they would like to say welcome to the conference week schedule where students will be released at 11 a.m. and the parents will be able to check up with the teachers about the students' progress. There will be 2 basketball games, one on November 16th with Forks and one on November 18th at Stevens. Term 1 report card is now viewable in Skyward, so be sure to check that out. Squim High School would like to say that just like in middle school, this will also be a conference week for high schoolers. The teachers will be available from November 16th until November 19th from 12 to 3 p.m. every day if the parents would like to ask questions for their kids' progress. Meetings will be virtual where you can make appointments with the teachers. Seniors better keep one eye out for new scholarships on the corner of the Career Center webpage. And there is also something else that I would like to say. There was no school on November 11th and 12th, and I want to take a moment to thank all the veterans who have fought for the country and our freedom. Thank you.
Thank you, Alyssa. All right, next up we have Virginia Representative Caleb Kleiner.
Good evening, all. I have 2 reports from the elementary schools that I would like to share at this time. First, from Heller Elementary, they would like to say that they are wrapping up their PTO winter plant sale fundraiser. Orders will begin on December 2nd. The money raised will go towards providing each student with a newly designed Helen Haller Elementary Spirit Wear t-shirt with logo designed by SHS's very own Luke Kisena. We love our PTO and are grateful for all their hard work and for helping us ensure that all students feel a strong sense of belonging at Helen Haller Elementary. Teachers have been busy scheduling virtual conferences. School will dismiss the rest of this week at 11 o'clock to allow for conferences with families via Microsoft Teams or telephone. We are looking forward to sharing how well our students are doing settling back into the regular routine of school and teaching and learning all 5 days a week. Our online book fair kicked off November 12th and runs through November 25th. There are over 5,000 products, including book fair exclusives, new releases, value packs, and more. All orders ship home and there is free shipping on book-only orders over $25. Our school earns 25% rewards during the fair and 2% year-round. Our students are very excited about the book fair. Even though it is virtual, there's lots of buzz around what they are going to get. All the 4th grade students at Helen Haller have the opportunity to create an ornament to decorate the holiday tree at the Civic Center. Teachers sent home entry forms and information. Our picture retake day will be Tuesday, November 23rd. And lastly, as November is Gratitude Month, we also want to take a moment to express our deep gratitude to all of our students, families, staff, parents, and caretakers who are doing their very best, showing up every day, working hard, and extending grace and kindness to one another. We appreciate you and what you are modeling to the smallest among us. Finally, we would like to extend sincere gratitude to our incredible leader, Dr. Jane Pryne, who has modeled leading with strength, professionalism, passion, clarity, and kindness from day one and throughout an incredibly challenging time. Thank you, Dr. Pryne. The next report I have is from Grey Wolf, and they would like to say that last Wednesday, they had a spirit day in which students came to the school wearing red, white, and blue to thank the veterans for their service to their country. We would like to thank United States Marine Corps veteran, Mr. Newton, for helping us honor our veterans during his lunchtime video. We would also like to thank Director Gibson, who served in the United States Air Force, and Directors Pickens and Stoffer, who served in the United States Coast Guard. Thank you all for your service. November 16th through 19th, we will have the chance to formally meet with our families during parent and teacher conferences. Our teachers have scheduled times to meet virtually with our students and their parents. Picture retakes at Grey Wolf will be Tuesday, November 23rd. Students were expected to have their original school pictures delivered on November 10th. On December 1st, Grey Wolf will kick off their 12 days of givings in support of our community and the Sequim Food Bank. We look forward to this event and are glad to be able to hold it again this year. Finally, for safety, we have removed 2 faulty pieces of Grey Wolf Elementary playground equipment. We will investigate replacing them within the next few years.
Thank you, Caleb. Okay, next up, we have our regular board communication. Let's start off with Director Jeffries.
Okay, let me go ahead. Thank you. First of all, some of you have heard Bo's remarks in the background as our tech support to help us out on a couple issues. Really thank him for being here and helping us out and keeping us straight, because sometimes tech presents unique problems that only unique people can tell us what to do next. So thank you, Bo. Also, thank you to Director Gibson and Director Koo for your service on the board, and really appreciate it. And I would just say that I voted for you when you were elected, and I think I still have some yard signs tucked away somewhere in my garage for the next time that you run. So there you go. I'd also like to give my appreciation or thanks to about the 160 so people who are attending tonight. I realize some were here for various reasons, but it would be nice to see this kind of attendance in the future when we are fully live and or hybrid, whatever may come here in the future once we can figure things out. So thank you for attending. Let's see, I will have, I wanted to mention, I know there's a lot of holiday fundraising going on. I did order poinsettias from the Helen Howler PTO. And so if you get a chance to do that, I encourage you to take a look at that, and whatever other fundraisers, schools, PTOs, PTAs may be having, and consider them at this time of year. Couple of notes. I will be asking a couple of questions about the reserve fund when we get to finance and enrollment report coming up. And I will remind the school board, I did send out a suggestion that we have an executive session to cover some issues, and I'd like to see that addressed when you can. While it would be inappropriate to comment on the negotiations with teacher salaries, I do have a comment, however. My impression or my intention is to express some thoughts of my own on the matter regarding Dr. Pryne's resignation. Today's world seems upside down world. Tonight's resignation and last month's censure resolution is not what I ever expected, prepared for, or wanted when I ran for the school board. I realize my comments may open me up to risk of extreme public criticism, behind the scenes community gossip, negative emails, and negative social media posts, all of which seem to be missing many facts, or at least misinterpretation of facts. Some say, well, this is just SQUIM. That's also disappointing to me. I don't think SQUIM is worthy, nor the SQUIM schools is worthy of that reputation. Accountability, as was mentioned earlier tonight, is a word that's been thrown around, and rightly so, a lot in this district in the past and currently. Attempts to hold people accountable have often been met with personal egregious attacks to avoid consequences of their actions and words. These tactics are still occurring today, and ironically often instigated by some of the very people who are now having to face their own accountability consequences. Dr. Pryne has had a significant positive effect on the staff, the students, the board, and the programs in this district. It will be a challenge to find a new superintendent with her leadership capabilities. I fully support Dr. Pryne, who has formed an administrative team whose ongoing efforts and positive initiatives have impacted the students, the schools, and the board in so many ways. That progress has been derailed by what I believe to be intentionally misleading and damaging claims and accusations. I ask the public, staff, board members to take a step back and look at their words, their facts, their motives, and stop these unproductive and harmful attacks that are undermining the focus of a district where students' lives, we want students' lives to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Director Pickens.
Thank you. Just want to thank Director Koo, President Gibson for your service. This is definitely some difficult work and challenging, to be sure. So, to Dr. Pryne, I'm very sad that things are where they are, but I don't think that we should. I want to just call out all of the tremendous things that you did for the Sequim School District, because I don't want to lose sight of that. I certainly wish that this situation wouldn't be where it's at, but it is. And you've done some amazing work here, and I wish you weren't leaving, but I just want to thank you for everything that you've done for the staff, for the students, and for your service to the district. One thing that I'm trying to remain focused on is that there is still work to do, and one way or another, we need to move forward. And it's pretty clear that the school board moving forward is going to consist of myself and Director Jeffries, Director Stoffer, and Director-elect Johnston. Congratulations as well to Patrice on her election. I'm not sure about the fifth spot yet, but the one thing that's clear is that we have to move forward, and there's still work to be done. So I truly believe that needs to be our priority as a board, and that's going to be my focus moving forward. Finally, I appreciate all the public comments that were stated tonight. As a fellow teacher, I can certainly understand where folks are coming from. We need to make sure and take care of our teachers. They're I really thought when I first became a teacher that the job couldn't get any harder. And I've worked other jobs. I've plenty of other jobs. But nothing is as hard as teaching, mentally, physically. But that was before COVID, so it just got worse. I have a lot of concerns, but we know what life is like here in the Sequim area. We know what real estate costs are like, what rentals cost in the area. Folks are struggling to make ends meet. And really, that for folks that have college degrees and master's degrees, and we have folks PhDs and doctorates, it shouldn't be the way. So I am 100% supportive of taking care of our staff, including our certificated staff. And that's what I'm going to continue to advocate for. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Pickens. Director Koo.
All right, thank you. I'm going to put my video on so folks can see me one final time. First, thank you to the teachers who attended en masse tonight, and to those who shared your comments. Your comments are well heard, and your turnout is noticed. And I will say, I wrote out a few comments, given my penchant for stammering and for vulgar humor at times. So I'm keeping myself on a leash here. I do agree with Larry's request for an executive session, so thank you, Larry, for sending that out. There continues to be work to do, and whenever that transition occurs, I'll gladly be ready for it, but still in the role and willing to work in the meantime. I did want to say a belated happy Veterans Day to my board colleagues here tonight, Eric Pickens and Brandino Gibson. You have my family's gratitude for your service to this great nation. I want to thank the SCWIM community for the opportunity to serve in this position for the last 4 to 5 years. Despite the many challenges along the way, it's been incredibly rewarding to have a hand in our district's journey and ultimately towards the better. Unfortunately, our district is currently in yet another unexpected transition in leadership, and I take responsibility for my part in contributing towards that. That is not how I had planned to exit this role. I want to share a few quick thank yous to some of my colleagues who have been a part of this journey, but need to start by addressing the elephant in the room. Director Stauffer, I'm sorry you're not here tonight, and while I have no doubt you began your own tenure on the school board with the best of intentions, I could not be more disappointed in your subsequent actions that have eroded trust with the board, especially with our superintendent, and sowed seeds of discord in the community. For the sake of our district, our parents and students, including my own, please humble yourself and step down to allow our community to heal. Alyssa and Caleb, while I'm embarrassed you've had to witness the aforementioned errant behaviors, I can only hope that it serves to inspire you to make the difficult decisions you may face in the future in your lives, even if it means standing alone. I've been impressed with you both and regret that our work together has to end here tonight. Cheers to you both and towards the remainder of your time in the district. Larry, while we jokingly agree that there's often little you and I agree on, I've appreciated working with you over the past 2 years towards addressing many of our challenges navigating through the COVID crisis, something neither of us anticipated or wanted. Your experience as an educator has been invaluable as well as we've evaluated our learning programs, improvement plans, and learning gaps. Thank you. Eric, as you know, I was cautious about your initial candidacy for the SCWIM school board while serving as the local union representative, but you've completely absolved any concerns with your leadership. I don't know how you've been so active on our board while being an engaged parent of a senior, no less, teaching a class of bobbleheads just down the road, and as you mentioned, often virtually. I still don't know how you've done that, and serving as our board vice chair. Thank you for your leadership and invaluable insight along the way. Brandino, wow, I can't believe we're at the end of the school board journey, finally, especially after years of working together on the chamber and Citizens for SCWIM schools, with the latter effort leading to the first approval by the voters after a series of failed attempts. I've enjoyed working alongside with you then and until the completion of our respective school board terms tonight. Thank you for taking over the leadership of our board during an unenviable time, I can't even say it, and leading with a calm poise that I strive to emulate in the future. Despite what's been scrawled on the bathroom wall of social media lately, you're a good man and an excellent leader. Congratulations on the conclusion of your tenure, and for heaven's sake, take a well-deserved break. Tracy, I know you didn't think I'd forget about you. You've been an integral connector and resource between the superintendent's office and the board. I've jokingly said that the executive assistant in any large organization knows all and says nothing. And while that may be true, I also know that role has been burdensome over the past few years. For everything you've done to keep the district moving forward and in such a positive way, thank you so much. Dr. Pryne, I'm at a bit of a loss of words right now, given where we're at tonight. I want to start by saying thank you for picking up the phone when our board called after an unexpected vacancy in the district office. You didn't hesitate to jump into the fray and get your hands dirty on a variety of efforts and challenges. When the initial interim period concluded, you willingly volunteered to stay another year to help us move through and beyond the COVID crisis and other unexpected challenges. Throughout this, you've unfairly bore the brunt of some of the tension being felt in the community, including misinformation and flat out false statements. I know the board could have supported you more, and I know that this shortcoming on our part contributed to your decision to resign before the new superintendent was selected. I'll regret this and can only apologize to you for not doing more. But please know that you have my full support. Regardless, thank you so much, Jane, for your unshakable leadership when we needed it most. Our district is better for your service, and I hope that you have a restful and well-deserved retirement. Thank you, Jane. Finally, I want to conclude by saying that I've enjoyed serving as a local elected official on the school board. no, really, and hope that inspires others to consider doing the same in the future. It's often hard but rewarding work, and you may lose a few hairs and friends along the way, but I believe it'll make you a better citizen and community member. Thank you again for the opportunity, and my best wishes and gratitude to the new board members for their upcoming term of service. Thank you.
And why did I choose to go last after that? Thank you, Director Koo. So yes, here we are at the end of our term. It has to go without saying, this is not how I envisioned my last days on this board. The last 2 years have been a challenge for many different reasons. Obviously, for all of us dealing with COVID, the regulations handed down by the Department of Health and the governor, and then, of course, some of the ongoing concerns and allegations that continue to float around the district. And unfortunately, many of those derive from false information that just is spewing throughout social media. I'm not going to look at those individually and specifically, but I, as Director Koo said, I believe his name and mine have been thrown out there quite a bit, and quite honestly, I've not read any of it. I've not paid attention to any of it for several reasons. First of all, I do know the truth, and I'm completely comfortable with the information that I do have. Secondly, I feel like throughout this, through all these years, every decision that I've made, I've utilized several factors. What's in the best interest of our students? What does policy say? And what is legal? What I haven't done and taken into account is my personal opinions on any of these. Personal thoughts and likes or dislikes of individuals, and specifically emotion. Unfortunately, emotion has come into a lot of comments and concerns within the district recently. As a school board director, we have specific duties, and those are to hire and evaluate superintendent, set policy, approve budget and curriculum. What we are not here to do is discuss whether the third grade teacher said something inappropriate. Those are areas of concern for principals and superintendents. Unfortunately, sometimes individuals tend to delve into those areas when they shouldn't be. One other area that we occasionally have to do is, as these allegations come up and people file complaints, those complaints at some point may come forth to the board in an appeal. And that puts us in a position of both kind of judge and jury. And what we are not are investigators. We have specific people to do that. There are people that are hired to do investigations. I'm not a qualified investigator. What is highly inappropriate, though, is to go out on one's own and ask questions and investigate. I mean, imagine if you're a judge or a jury on a regular case and you go out and start asking questions on your own. That's why we put them those people in consolidation when they're in jury. And I don't know if you've ever served on a jury, but it's very tight quarters. What we can't do is go out and try to investigate those and ask questions on our own. That not only falls against policy, but it also skews one's own personal thoughts and opinions on how to make that decision in the end. And the other thing, there's been a couple of cases that that I have been excluded from those appeals because I was questioned in those. I could have had thoughts and opinions on in that, but I was unable to because I was questioned and part of that investigation. So therefore, delving into areas outside of that is highly inappropriate. What really saddens me about a lot of this is we have many individuals in this community. We've been trying to teach our kids that bullying is not proper. We've been talking about online bullying and how to protect our kids from that. And yet those tactics have now been taken on by adults. And unfortunately, it has led to, led to the resignation of the best leader we've had in this district for many years. I am extremely sad to see Dr. Pryne go. As was stated prior, she came out of retirement, took this on in an interim role, and then had a plan, started moving forward with that plan. We kept her along to do that. We hired her for an additional year, and with 5 board members at that time who were completely supportive and making statements such as, can we clone Dr. Pryne? But yet, at this point, we have 4 of us standing here supporting her. A lot of these allegations that have gone on as well. I read a statement. I've not really got involved in bullying and drama. I've never really paid a lot of attention, other than what's being said out there. So I did a little reading, and statement here called "Playing the Victim." Playing the victim is arguably one of the most powerful strategies a bully can utilize because the emotional charge it generates and fuels support. That is one of the things we're dealing with out there. With those that have been crying bully for years have become the bullies. So what have we done now? We have now taught our kids that don't do as I say, do as I do, because bullying works. And that's not a good example to be providing to our kids. That's the tactic we want to leave behind with them? I don't think so. And this is not how I had hoped to end my role on the board. Again, I know there's a lot of stuff floating around out there with my name on it. And quite frankly, I don't care what people think of me. That's your personal opinion. That's fine. But what saddens me is, again, what we have taught our students by all this that's going on out there. Am I a perfect man? No. But I can tell you that I am still comfortable at this point with the decisions that I've made. My wife asked me, did I think I would lose any friends over any of this? Well, not true friends. Do I have any regrets? I do, actually. First and foremost, as Director Coos stated, I don't believe that I stood up in support of Dr. Pryne strong enough over these last month with all that she's gone through. And I'm extremely sorry for that. I'm also regret the fact that there are those in the past that have good friends that have tried to warn me and give me and tell me about those that I should probably avoid in the community that I didn't do. And lastly, I do regret not following through with our decision that we brought forth at our other meeting on the censure. We came with a purpose and we didn't finish with that purpose, and that saddens me. Not the discussion that I wanted to have at this point, but these are my closing comments. I will say this, good luck to those that take both Brian and my place, Patrice, and I believe Christie's in the lead at this point, and whatever happens with my seat at that point. Please engage with all the board members to find out really what's going on behind the scenes. That's all I have. Thank you. Okay, we have more stuff to do though. Next up, Darlene, you have our finance and enrollment report.
All right. Well, I'll start with our fund balance report for the month of October. And just a quick note before we start, you can see in green, it says estimate until our F-196 is finalized, and our F-196 is our end of year closing report that goes to OSPI. It is in OSPI's hands right now, and as soon as they give approval for the F-196, the way it looks, then these numbers will be final. So even though they're highlighted in green, these are the latest numbers and the numbers that were submitted on my F-196. So for our general fund, we are slated to begin our beginning fund balance as of actually ending 8/31/2021 or beginning our school year of 9/1/2021 of $2,070,161.96. And I think in my F-195, which was our budget that was approved this summer, I thought that our beginning fund balance would be somewhere around $2,150,000. So pretty close. And then as you can see, our revenues and expenditures, we have more expenditures and revenues. And so our ending fund balance is $1,614,671.27. So I do want to say that as we're talking about our minimum fund balance or our reserve or our savings account, as it were, this year it is a little bit different than in most years to really look at it in a light like we normally do. So what we do is we take our budgeted expenditures, and right now that's at 48,323,000, and then we want a percentage of that to be our minimum fund balance or our savings account for emergency. And you can see that normally our expenditures are around 41 million. This year they're at 48 million, and that has to do with our ESSER funds. And those are our federal dollars that are given to our district. As we spend them, we're reimbursed for them, and we have to build those into our budget. And so that changes what our minimum fund balance looks like. It's almost like it just really skews it. So just keeping that in mind as we go through these numbers, and then I'll try to answer Director Jeffrey's questions about our reserve. Our capital projects and our debt service fund and transportation funds, they're not highlighted in green because they are just consistently the same. Our capital projects fund has an ending fund balance of $201,022.68. And I do believe we have one more. We're just slowly taking small things out. So, you know, we've done a basically an RFQ for some bids to come in to work on our upstairs district office room that will be our boardroom, and for the elevator that will be put in so that our building will be appropriate for all of our community members to get to our boardroom. And so those will be coming out of our capital projects fund, and so we're slowly starting those things right now. Our debt service fund is just sitting right at $70,076.34, and right now revenues are just slowly going into the debt service fund. We're not using that fund right now. Our transportation vehicle fund also is just gaining revenues. You can see there's a little bit of revenue in there of $5,745.77. And I just wanted to point that out because what that revenue amount is it's a combination of a little bit of interest, but also we had a couple buses go to Stokes auction, and they were auctioned off. So those are the proceeds from the auction. And we're required to put the proceeds in the transportation vehicle fund because those go towards the purchase of new buses or major repairs to the buses that we already have in our fleet. And then we have our Associated Student Body Fund. And I just wanted to point out something fun and positive about our ASB fund. And that is that you can see that we have more revenues than expenditures. And so it makes me really happy to know that our students are back in school, and some of those things that the students are all involved with are starting to happen. And so you can see that our revenues are jumping up there a little bit. And I hope that we can get back to our regular business at hand, and our students can enjoy all the things that they have enjoyed along the time before the pandemic came. Let's see, do you have any questions on this report? Even though it's kind of in green in an estimate, this really does look like what will be final numbers as soon as OSPI approves our F196. Let's see, I see Director Jeffries. Do you have your hand raised? I can't tell.
I think so.
Okay.
He said, yeah, okay. Well, that reserve fund has been something I've asked about many times, not every meeting, but almost every meeting. I think our current approved policy says between 4% and 6%. Am I wrong in my memory that we hover right at 4% or below usually for various reasons and complexities that I don't necessarily fully understand?
Sure, yes, you're right. Yeah, right now it's at about 3.2 or 3.3%. And so as our ending fund balance will fluctuate, so October is a month when we receive some of our local levy dollars, but September is a month when we have a really, really big September payroll. And so you can see each month there's something. We'll get more local levy dollars in November. I budgeted $7 million for local levy dollars to come in, and right now we've received $2,177,000. So we know most come in October, November, and then in April, May. So right now it is low because we are doing our biggest, probably two of our biggest salary and benefit months of the school year. So that a lot of that has to do with extra days before school starts. Our employees are here extra days in August, and our professional learning days, we've already had one of those. And so some of those things are added onto our normal payroll. But you're right. Yeah, our goal is to get it up there, and we just look at it each month. And if I can inch it up there, I try to inch it up as much as I can. And so that most of it's sitting in our minimum fund balance or our reserve or our savings account, as it were. But also that we have funds available that if we had to use it to write a check right away, we do have some available to do that. So
I guess the some available worries me, especially given the ongoing potential legal liabilities the district may or may not have coming up in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what other emergencies might pop up, but and I know it's painful in doing my research. It's painful for school districts to get their reserve fund up to 5%, 6%. But it seems to me that's wise to do. With the ESSER funds, we have to just, disregard the ESSER funds in the future. However, they have paid for things that we won't have to pay for in the future. So I would encourage us, you, whoever, that we push for that 5% and try to get there rather than being satisfied with somewhere under 4%. We have some money But if we get hit hard, we really don't have the money we think we do. Am I off base? Am I worrying for no reason?
Well, of course, like every day I worry about our minimum fund balance because, that's our job. Your job as a, director is you're overseeing the financial well-being of our district. And my job every single day is to make sure that we're making sound fiscal decisions. And so, yes, ESSER funds is one pot of money. It's here and then it's gone. The extra staff that we have put into place or kept in place because we had ESSER dollars, at some point those ESSER dollars will be gone. And then also, when we're looking at what we're receiving in state funding, we're receiving IPD, but we are passing that along to our employees. And so it used to be called COLA or cost of living, and now it's IPD. And right now, whatever the IPD is each year that it comes, that is being passed down to our employees. So our local levy dollars that we get from our community members, we asked for the lowest amount that we could reasonably ask for and be responsible, and did not ask for a lot of local levy dollars, and to help keep our community's tax payments low. And so we use our local levy dollars already, where the state funds us for so many employees, and it's based on our enrollment. And right now our enrollment is low, and it trues up in January, and money doesn't fall from the sky or grow on trees. And so, yeah, every single day we worry about our minimum fund balance and what we have in our reserve. And that's why we, are looking at this each month, and you are aware of where we are in each of our 5 funds.
I appreciate that. You're doing a great job. Could you define for the audience the ICD?
Sure, that's the implicit price deflator, and that is what is used by the state to pass through dollars through our apportionment system, and that's basically our paycheck each month to the district to pay our salaries and benefits and our maintenance and operation of our buildings. And right now, because a lot of our associations have language in their CBAs that talk about that pass through, the IPD, they receive that. So this year it was 2%. And so 2% was added on top of their salary step up for another year of service. They were already given the 2% and then negotiations for anything extra on top of that, which would then have to come out of local levy dollars. And we did not ask for a lot of local levy dollars to account for big increases in salaries and benefits. So we're working on that.
Do we have a prediction what IPD will be like next year?
Well,
we heard a lot about negotiations.
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place right now, and we watch OSPI's website, and they move it up and down, and right now it's a little bit less than 2%, but then we heard the other day that it was going to be up about 3-point-something%. But overall, we just have to keep watching. We won't know really what it is until it gets close to when we're done with our budget this next spring.
Once that number is set, the 1.5% figure that was thrown around, that would be on top of the IPD?
That's correct.
So like if it's 3%, IPD is 3%, we're talking 1.5% would raise it to 4.5%. Is that correct?
Correct, but this year is 2% IPD, so it would be 3.5%. Yeah.
Okay, this year, so it'd be, yeah. So we're talking 3.5%. Okay.
Correct.
So it's the IPD plus whatever money we can get from local dollars that is spread out to all of our employees, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that because.
Yep.
But I still encourage you to go for 5%.
I am working on that. I promise. I am.
Okay, okay.
All right. Okay, let's move on to our next.
Right.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Director Pickens.
Oh, I just had a question. Well, first I want to say thank you, and I definitely appreciate your work. I know that I know that maintaining a ending fund balance of, call it 4 to 6%. I'm sure is much more difficult there. I know there are some districts that have an ending fund balance that they maintain of upwards of 10 to 20%. And I'm sure your 4 to 6% is more difficult than 10 to 20. So I just want to let you know that I certainly appreciate your diligence in that regard, that we're kind of balancing that and making sure we're keeping money in the classrooms to the greatest extent possible. But also to ask, the one thing that I believe, because we're coming in a little bit higher on our enrollment, is there anything that shows the influx of revenue that will come once in January, once that trues up? Do you have a sense as to how much additional revenue above the budgeted amount, what that's impact of that's going to be yet?
Yeah. Okay. So I have enrollment through October, which is fine because we're talking about October reports right now. And so the ending enrollment number in October was 2,497.28 FTE.
What was that again?
2,497.28. And I pulled my F-195 so I could just go over what my budgeted enrollment numbers were. So with ALE and with Running Start, which Running Start is 72 FTE, so we can use it or not use it, but with everybody, it's 5,098 FTE is what was budgeted. So you can see that we're under that. I'm not sure that Running Start is even part of that October number that I gave, the first one that I gave you. That would be a question for Tracy. I'm not even sure that we have Running Start yet. So oh, it is. She just told me it is. Running Start is part of that 2,497.28. And we budgeted 2,598. So we're about 100 students off. Now we still have, we've grown ALE a little bit. So we budgeted 159 for ALE. And let's see here. I can kind of tell you what that is. ALE between OPA and DVS is, well, it has just over 200 students, but the FTE is right around, I think, 150 or so. And I could be wrong, and I can get you the exact FTE for that. But yeah, we're working on it. We're up a little bit. We're up like 11 FTE from September to October, and November numbers just were not quite ready yet. And so we'll see what those are as soon as they come in.
So we're under
I hope by January. I'm not sure, what it will look like yet, but we do need to grow a little bit more.
So our current enrollment is less than our budgeted amount. Is that accurate?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
You're welcome. All right, let's move to our next spreadsheet. Let's move to the general fund activity. So our general fund activity report, it still says estimates also, and you can see that I don't have the 2021 year-to-date actuals put in place there where the blue column is. in November. That will all be filled in so that you'll be able to compare 2021 year-to-dates with 21-22 year-to-date numbers. So this report looks most like the budget status report that you used to get, and it lists all of the revenues for the month of October plus year-to-date. And the balance over there is just the remaining amount of what we budgeted for incoming revenues. And so for the first 2 months, we have got 15% of our revenues in. Under expenditures, same thing, it's our budgeted expenditures, what we've spent for the month and year-to-date. And then in this one, it's encumbrances. So you can see, unlike last month when there weren't any numbers in the encumbrances for salary and benefits, now you can tell that there are. And so that boosts our expenditures that we know right now that we have encumbered or have spent already up to 76.22%. And then in green, you can just see that our beginning fund balance and our ending fund balance of 1,614,671.27. And those will most likely be our real numbers as soon as our F196 is approved. All right, let's go to our next spreadsheet. Let's go to the general fund expense summary by object. So this used to be at the bottom of that really long spreadsheet that I would send to you. And this just shows that as of October 31st, broken down by object code, which is our salaries for certificated, classified, benefits are combined for both certificated and classified, supplies, materials, purchase services, travel and capital outlay. So you can see what it is in the current and the year-to-date column. And we have some encumbrances that you can see what's there split out by certificate and classified and benefits. And you can see that always our salary and benefits take up at least 80 to 85% of our budget easily. And then it shows the 76.22%. And our last spreadsheet is the general fund expense summary by activity. And this one is really just broken down by every single thing that you can have a code, an expenditure go to a certain code, and this is how it's broken down. So we budget like this, and then you can see here today what we've spent and how the encumbrances break down to get to that 76.22%. Does anybody have any questions about any of the spreadsheets? Director Koo.
Thanks, Darlene. Actually, I saw it and I thought, you know what, why not? Since I'm heading out the door, just a comment about the line items. The first one, which shows board of directors, I think it has, $250,000 in there. And believe you me, I'd asked about that at one time. And my understanding is that's an allocation, if not a line share of the legal and I think even insurance expense related to the board and board activity. Is that
sure?
correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's several things. And so you're right. It's legal costs. It is anything that has to do with paying anything to Clallam County for elections. And so we just paid a very large amount for elections at the end of the 2021 school year. And so that's in there for our board members to be able to attend WASDA and any travel that you might have in association with your duties as board members. a lot of those things are under board of directors. And so while it's happening at the district, that's where we're required to pay for some of those items from. So we have to build a budget under that code.
Great, thank you. Yeah, just no one's brought it up, but just in case there's any concern about lavish
Sure.
parties or
Yeah,
anything like
no. Yeah, it's school district costs, but it's all of those technical bills, like legal bills and voting, like everything that we had to do with our levy and our capital levy and our board of directors, all the elections of those types of things come out of that budget. And some of them are large, depending on how many measures we have on the ballot. All right, that's all I have.
Great. Thank you, Darlene. Okay.
President Gibson, may I real
Yes,
quick? I'm sorry,
absolutely.
I missed
Yeah,
my
go ahead,
opportunity
Rick.
before.
Yeah.
Darlene, I'd be remiss, since again, I'm the guy heading out the door. I'd be remiss not to just say thank you, not only for your report tonight, but your work for our district. It has been a pleasure working with you, and I appreciate the very down-to-earth. Oh yeah, I should probably put my video on so you can see me. Very down-to-earth and approachable nature at which you handle our financials, because how many years on the board now, and they're still dizzying to me. If the opportunity presents itself when I'm a civilian to help serve on a finance committee or something like that, I definitely enjoy that. But regardless, just thank you for the good work you do, and I've enjoyed working with you.
Thank you, Director Koo. And I have your name on my list for the finance committee.
If you say no, I won't be offended. I've grown a pretty thick skin.
No, I already have your name written down.
Uh-oh. Looks like you're in it there. Yeah, and I'd like to add, Darlene, I just appreciate, through the years, we've just taking the feedback that the board has provided and some of the improvements of the different spreadsheets and the information you provide based on that. It's just, it just shows that you're listening to us as well. And, I hope my name's not on that list, because this finance thing isn't in my forte. That's more Brian's area and as well. Not that I wouldn't come running if you called, but anyway, I just thanks for everything that you've done over the years, and really do appreciate all of your work there as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Your name's not on the list, but I can put it on there.
Okay. Well, that's a good thing, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not bothered by that one bit. Okay. Let's see. Moving on. Next up, Dr. Pryne.
Yes, well, I just want to say, first of all, thank you to President Gibson and Director Pickens for your service to our country. My father was a World War II vet, so Veterans Day is always very important at our household. I also have a niece and a nephew who have served 2 tours, so I just really appreciate all that you've done. I also would like to just leave a statement with everyone. This is kind of my thank you and goodbye. It's been my great honor to serve the students, staff, and community of SQUIM as your interim superintendent. I'm very proud of the work we've done with our staff and scholars in giving voice to our equity and excellence visioning. This work ensures that our community inspires and prepares each student to thrive. And in connection with our community, the SQUIM School District empowers staff to inspire hope and provide flexible, innovative learning opportunities in a safe and respectful environment, so each student thrives to the best of their abilities. A huge thank you to all of our district and building administrators and staff for their courageous leadership in formulating a kinder and more empathetic culture in the SQUIM School District. We have been working with Dare to Lead trainer Laurel Smiley to create a courageous culture that connects our values to specific behaviors, so people know what is expected, encouraged, and rewarded within our team and our organization. In addition to setting clear expectations, the process gives us shared language and a well-defined culture. It offers us very straightforward standards of behavior for all in our organization. Threading our equity and excellence visioning work with our Dare to Lead work is connecting all of us to a common goal that 100% of our scholars, families, and staff feel like they belong to the Sequim School District. Last but never least, I want to thank my husband, Jim, for being there since day one of this superintendency adventure. His patience, kindness, and understanding of this work has also resulted in a wild journey for him. And finally, I hope for the Board of Directors, Gibson and Koo, enjoyment in your next chapter, and Directors Pickens and Jeffries, wishing you well as you develop your new team in December and begin your journey together leading the Sequim School District. And my final thought that I would leave with all of you is by Brene Brown. When we have the courage to walk into our story and own it, we get to write the ending. So be courageous, be kind, and be well. And thank you all for your kind words tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Pryne.
Thank you, Dr. Pryne.
Yeah, thank you. And good comment about your husband, Jim, who have not met, but I know there's
He's a really good
there.
sport.
Thank you, Dr. Pryne.
Okay, well, comes to the part of the meeting that I was not looking forward to. I don't think any of us were, but you know, as we know, Dr. Pryne is led by example through this time frame, and she has decided it's time to move on. And so, if I could get a motion to approve the resignation of Dr. Pryne.
Make
I
the motion to approve.
I regretfully second it.
Thank you for the motion. Motion, Dr. Pickens, second, Dr. Jeffries. Just lead off with discussion again. Dr. Pryne, I want to thank you, as was said before, for taking our call back in October, a year ago, and when it was we kind of needed some assistance, and you willingly jumped on board and immediately showed your leadership skills. And then in December or in January, when we needed to continue on with some leadership, you know, the board overwhelmingly supported to keep you on. And then as we got to a point where we were looking for a time frame to hire a full-time superintendent, we just acknowledged all the great work that you had done in your leadership role, and at that point decided, well, you know, let's bump that ahead a little longer to find a permanent superintendent, and let Dr. Pryne take the reins and continue with the great work, and you have done that, and this is shown by a lot of the great feedback that we've had from the leaders in this district and the teachers in this district that have sent me several messages of you know, dismay that you're leaving, and just supportive comments on the great leadership that you've brought. I think you've brought a good both calming leadership, but also understanding that you know, consequences are actions have consequences, and you know, I think unfortunately that's an area that we have not seen in this district in a while, and you know, that shows a strong leader. So thank you for all you've done. I would be saying goodbye for this point anyway, as my last regular meeting. We may have some other side, you know, meetings between now and next month when we swear in the new people, but I just want to thank you for everything that you've done from this point forward.
You're welcome. It's been my pleasure. Really, it has. I remember telling you the very first time I interviewed with you, it's really the air I breathe, and I would concur with that.
Thank you. Okay, with that, any other words? Or any comments?
Yeah, just wanted to share, Dr. Pryne, definitely. I said this earlier, but just wanted to reiterate. You know, you came through at an extremely difficult time, and I'm sure throughout your career you've faced some ups and downs and some challenges, but I don't know if any of those would really compare to running a school district, jumping right in and during a pandemic, and with its fair share of controversy and challenges, and just again, just appreciate all that you do and what you've done, and thank you for your service to our community, to our students, to our staff.
Thank you. And no, I've never led a district during a pandemic until now. I've never had that experience.
Well, you can write that one on your memoirs there. Director Jeffries.
Yeah, I would just add a ditto to what's been said already, and to express my apology and regret for not being able to do more to back you up and not have it come to this this vote. And really appreciate what you've done. I've been very impressed. I've worked with many superintendents over my 40 some years in public education. And unfortunately, 4 other school board superintendents now in this district in my 2 years. And you're the best. And I think it's going to be very difficult to find a replacement, but in my mind, you are somebody like you is who we are looking for. So appreciate all your efforts and what you've done. And I'm very looking forward to continuing on with your work, and your administrative team have my full support, as well as the principals, teachers, and the programs staff in the district. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
My wife's yelling at me in the background to keep my post-eye surgery head down, so
Yeah.
I'll make this quick. Jane, thank you again. I feel like it's understated, but you've been such an asset to this district. Everything we could have asked for and more, and your selflessness to jump into the fray that only got more frayed over time. I'm inspired by it, and I can't thank you enough. You deserve every bit of praise and also of rest and peace following this tumult. So thank you for getting us to this point.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Mr. Chair, can I one more?
Yes, absolutely. Eric.
Inquiry? And
Brian, put your head down.
and although I don't love following it up based on all those kind words that were said for Dr. Pryne, which I appreciate, but also because it does directly relate to this particular agenda item. Are we is that something where we're going to reach out to I think you had mentioned maybe reaching out to the ESD to get some names? Is that still your thought?
Yeah, so we need to talk about that. So as you may have noticed, Greg Lynch is moving on. I tried reaching out to Greg Lynch as well, and obviously, and his that number's changed. So I left a message at that number to give us a call back, and we're definitely going to pursue looking at an option to come in and fill that role until we find a permanent fill our permanent role with our process that we're going through with Hank and them. So yeah, we'll have to talk about this kind of, at a later date, and and unfortunately may have to turn that over to you, Eric, or whoever the next president coming in as well will be. I'm not sure that we'll be able to get that concluded prior to the new board coming on, and Dr. Pryne does have until the end of December as well at this point. So we'll see. We'll have to talk further on that. But I haven't heard back from them, and as I said, we've all probably seen the information on Greg Lynch retiring as well. So. Who we connect to. Thank you. Thanks for asking that, though.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. With that said, reluctantly, all those in favor of the motion at hand signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Dr. Pryne, please enjoy your retirement.
I will. Thank you.
Okay, Next up, we have the agreement for our swim team to kind of join in with the Port Angeles team to do the practice over there. So if we get approval of that.
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Happy to second.
Okay, thank you. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I'll just say it's as a swim parent, it's good. It's a good that are in a supporter of all of our sports. Good for our those that are choosing to take this on, have an opportunity to continue on with it, and appreciate the Port Angeles allowing us to our students to join them in this as well. So
appreciate the partnership.
Yeah. Yep. All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign? All right. Lastly, we have an item to approve the board taking action on a recommendation to approve settlement of a claim as discussed in executive session on November 8th. I have a motion for this.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the recommendation of legal counsel on this.
Thank you.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign? All right. Anybody with anything with for the good of the order? Director Koo, and keep your head down.
All right, all right. I feel like a wedding singer grabbing for the mic, when everyone's ready to be done. No, I neglected to call out my appreciation, frankly, for my wife during the term of the service. She can belabor, what a sacrifice it is, but that is something for any director that chooses to serve. If you have a family and a spouse, they're serving right alongside with you, and that could have been more evident. So thank you, Sarah, not only for our 3 beautiful boys, but also your support, and at times your threatening gestures in the background that I better get off the phone and be a father again. Obviously I'm joking, but she's been incredible. I'm a fortunate man, and appreciate also my sons enduring my tenure on the board. I don't think that's always been easy, but they've shown good stride, and hopefully it builds character. So thank you.
Thank you, Brian. And also thanks for that. I want to thank my wife and daughter as well for their support through all of this. And also my regret for the unfortunately having to endure some of the things that they've either heard or encountered over the last couple of months through all of this, some of this dismay as well. I want to thank my fellow board members also for your support for me in this role. Thank you for voting me in for the 2nd year in a row. So thank you for that. I wish you all the best of luck. Director Koo, it's been a pleasure working with you through all of this. I want to thank you for sticking it out these last 2 months after 2 emergency surgeries, 2 emergency medical conditions. And I've been through this, so I'm siding with Sarah. Keep your damn head down. Okay. It's not a fun surgery to deal with, and do as you're supposed to. But it's been a pleasure working with you guys. And as we said, also with the rest of the team, and you eloquently said, Brian, who, by the way, I think I understood every word you said, and I didn't have to look up one of them in the dictionary. So thanks for those earlier words. And the rest of the team, rest of Jane's team, Darlene, as we just said, for your continued support, and obviously Tracy, for everything that you've done. You are the eyes, ears, and all behind the district. And as I've said many times, if you want to know who's really in charge, it's Tracy. and for your calm way and professional way of dealing with things in the background. Bo, for helping us guide through all of this mess of technology as well. Really appreciate that. So we have a couple of weeks, I think, left of actual service, but again, thank you to all. Thank you to those that voted for us in support, and thank you. And best of luck to Larry and Eric and the new board members moving forward. Thank you. All right. With that said, meeting adjourned for the last time. Good
Thanks,
night.
Phil.
Good night,
Cheers,
all.
Al. Thank you.